We have often wondered if the mother tongue, also called L1, and the second language, L2, are located in the same brain areas in bilingual people. The aim of my thesis is to develop a general overview of the multidimensionality of bilingualism, paying specific attention to the neuropsychological mechanisms involved in the language learning. I focus on what happens in the brain and at the neuronal level during the acquisition of a language. Neurons are organized in cellular groups called neurofunctional modules in order to coordinate human activity for both organ function and behavior. They specialize in a specific function in order to accomplish their role. The formation of neurofunctional modules depends on environmental inputs and genetic factors. The efficiency of neurofunctional modules of language depends on the linguistic activation threshold and the age of acquisition of a foreign language. The activation threshold hypothesis suggests that an item is activated when a sufficient amount of positive impulses has reached it. The L2 activation threshold is higher than that of L1. For this reason, greater difficulties arise during the acquisition of a foreign language. If L2 is learned before the age of 7 or 8, a direct access to neurofunctional modules occurs. In this case, the input is perceived, analyzed, and processed directly by specific subsystems for each of them, and the translation process does not occur. Language is mainly located in the left hemisphere. Initially, it was thought that L1 and L2 were located in the same brain areas. However, the Professor Oyeman analyzed the brain organization of a Greek mother tongue and English second language, and noticed that oral skills in L1 and L2 were altered by cortical stimulation in Broca's and Wernicke's areas designed to process language, while stimulation in other areas of the left hemisphere inhibited only one language. Other studies affirm that there is a partial overlapping of linguistic areas for L1 and L2. The Professor Dehaene studied a group of French mother tongue who had learned English after the age of 7. When they listened to a story told in L1, the left hemisphere was active, while when the story was told in L2, the right hemisphere was involved in the process. Also, Kim's studies gave evidence of the brain organization. He compared 6 L2 fluent speakers who had learned L2 during their childhood with 6 late speakers who had learned L2 after the age of 11. The temporal areas were the same for both speakers, but at the level of frontal lobe, activation areas were the same for L1 and L2 in early bilinguals, but in late ones, L2 developed in a different region because front linguistic tone was taken up by L1. It has been proven that the age of acquisition of L2 plays a fundamental role for the brain organization. If L2 is learned before the age of 8, a direct access to its neurofunctional modules takes place. I also wondered why children learn languages faster than adults. The infant brain has a unique neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity refers to changes in neural pathways and synapses due to changes in behavior, environment, neural processes, thinking, and emotions. Neuroplasticity is the result of interactions between several neurodevelopmental factors. When all of those factors achieve their full development, a definitive settlement of cognitive functions takes place. Neuroplasticity is related to the critical period hypothesis. The critical period hypothesis states that primary and secondary language acquisition must occur during a critical period which ends at the age of puberty with the establishment of cerebral lateralization of functions. It must be considered as a long period during which the regions that are designed to determine cognitive functions develop and reach a stable neuronal organization. It's recommended that children be exposed to more than one language during the first period from 0 to 3 years old and the second one from 4 to 8 years old. Learning a language is a complex task for the human brain. It needs the adaptation of specific brain areas for language production and specific L2 areas. It's never too late to learn a new language, but if we take advantage of childhood neuroplasticity, we can speak the learned languages as well as a native speaker, especially concerning pronunciation, which won't be influenced by a foreign accent. In the first phase of L2 learning, neuronal density and synaptogenesis increase due to genetic factors and the interaction with the environment. In the second phase, a slow synaptogenesis relocation occurs, which is dependent on the inputs received by the environment. Finally, the third phase consists in the myelinization process, which concludes the brain's maturation. Bilingualism is shrouded in an aura of mystery. The benefits of bilingualism are various. Bilingual education is an educational proposal because two languages, so two different cultures, traditions, and ways of living intertwine. Children who learn L1 and L2 simultaneously are able to take on two different realities and to cope with the new millennium's demands. All children should have the opportunity to approach to foreign languages as a vehicle for their education.